You bought the Sony FX30 because you were promised a cinema look for a fraction of the price. You've seen what the camera can do online, but you can't shake that nagging feeling that your footage is just missing something. You see the video shot on those high-end cinema cameras like the FX6, and deep down you know your image just isn't there yet. And sometimes you start hearing that little voice in your head that wonders if you made a mistake. Should I shell out thousands more on an upgrade that I really can't afford? Stop. The gap between these two cameras is real, but probably not the gap you think it is. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you the exact settings and the precise workflow to make your Sony FX30 produce an image that is incredibly hard to distinguish from its bigger, more expensive brother, the FX6. You don't need a new camera, you just need the right knowledge. As always, if you find value in this video, subscribe, like, leave a comment. I'd love to hear about your journey and where your Sony FX30 or any other camera that you use is taking you. I've also got some links down below for some excellent featured gear. They're affiliate links to help support the channel so we can continue to make more content. Without that, I couldn't do it, so I just want to say thank you. And now, let's get into the video. So before we can make these cameras match, we have to understand the pros and cons and what features make them different in the first place. And no, it's not just fluff. There's three core differences that you just can't change. First, the sensor size. The FX6 has a gorgeous full-frame sensor, while the FX30 rocks a smaller Super 35 or APS-C sensor. A bigger sensor can physically gather more light and information to give you a shallower depth of field and a higher image quality. It's the foundation of that beautiful full-frame look that everyone talks about. But it's important to remember the FX30 has a Super 35 sensor that captures higher resolution images around 6K and then downsamples or oversamples it to produce a detailed 4K video. Second, and this is the big one, is low light performance. The FX6 has dual base ISO of 800 and an absolutely staggering 12,800. The FX30's base ISOs are 800 and 2500. Now, in good light at ISO 800, these cameras are shockingly close. But once the lights go down, that FX6's high base ISO of 12,800 delivers a much cleaner image than the FX30 can. In a moment, I'll show you some footage that I shot in low light with my FX30 that was quite underexposed, and you're not going to believe how well this camera performs in low light. And third, the pro features. The FX6 has a mind-blowing electronic variable ND filter, really handy, professional SDI outputs, time code for syncing multiple cameras. These are workflow tools that are non-negotiable on a professional set. The FX30 is built more for solo shooters and smaller teams and just doesn't have them. But wait, here's the question I have to ask myself, because I got that craving for an FX6. Am I shooting enough in low light to justify the cost? I hardly ever shoot in low light or do nighttime gigs. What's my client base? I work mostly with smaller clients right now, so the budgets aren't that big. It's a pretty big swing to go for an FX6 at this time in my life, but trust me, the time is coming. So our goal isn't to magically grow a sensor or sprout an ND filter. The goal is to control every other variable so perfectly in the right environment, these hardware differences almost become meaningless to the final image. A perfect match starts in the camera. It's garbage in, garbage out. if your footage isn't set up for success from the jump, no amount of editing is going to save you. We need to tell the FX30 to capture the absolute maximum amount of information, creating a flexible digital negative that we can shape later. Here are some non-negotiable settings. If you've got your FX30 nearby, grab it and let's jump into the menu so we can set up the best possible image quality. First, log shooting profile. We're using Cine. This is the FX30's strongest workflow for max dynamic range. Cine is a flat, logarithmic curve that captures the widest possible data range your camera can see. We're talking over 14 stops on the FX30. It's going to give us the most flexibility in post. This is the secret to keeping all that beautiful detail in your highlights and shadows. Next, in those same log shooting and profile settings, find the color mode and set it to S-Gamut 3 Cine. This color space is literally designed to match the Sony's top-tier cinema cameras like the Venice. By pairing the Cine profile with that color space, you're putting the FX30's image into the exact same box as the FX6. It creates a common starting point. Now, the ISO. The FX30's two native ISOs are 800 and 2500. This is where the sensor is at its cleanest and most efficient. For the absolute best image quality, you should try to be on 800 if you have enough light. Only jump to 2500 when you have no other choice. And finally, a huge quality of life tip. Set your shutter to shutter angle and lock it at 180 degrees. This is a game changer. It automatically keeps your shutter speed at double your frame rate, which is the golden rule for natural motion blur. So whether you're at 24, 60, or 120 frames per second, your motion will always look professional and cinematic, and you'll never have to think about it again.
All right, so here's some footage that I shot. This is really underexposed, dark room, got a very small light on the subject, and got two candles in the background, and you can see, if you look in the corners, there's very little noise. And this is shot at 800 ISO in the Cine profile, and I do have a 30mm Sigma lens with a f1.4, so that's helping out. That's letting a lot of light into the sensor, but you can see the footage is relatively clean considering how dark this room is. I know you can't see it, but you can see behind there's hardly any light in this room. It's like it's almost nighttime inside this room. So with very little light, the FX30 can capture a very clean image.
All right, this section is short, but honestly, it's the most important part of the entire video. You can't cheat physics. The biggest thing that separates amateur video from professional cinematography isn't the camera, it's the lighting. The FX6 can be more forgiving in certain situations because of its insane low light power. The FX30, not so much. It needs light. But I want you to see that as a strength, not a weakness. It forces you to be a better filmmaker and puts you in the mindset of cinematographer. To match an FX6, you don't need a truck full of expensive lights. You just need one or two good lights and the know-how to shape them. And a pro tip that I've learned in my cinematography journey is start mastering the technique of backlighting. This was hard for me because the backlight seems to be simple, but to really get it looking good is hard at first. I had to keep messing with it over and over again, and I still don't have it as good as I want it, but it's getting better, and that's all that matters. Next, a simple, large, soft key light is the foundation of almost all cinematic lighting. By creating a controlled lighting setup, you guarantee you can shoot your FX30 at its beautiful, clean ISO base of 800. This one step does more to close the gap between these two cameras than any post-production trick ever will. And hey, don't forget your lenses. I had somebody tell me, Dave, you need to invest in glass. Using a fast prime lens like an f1.8 or f1.4 lets more light hit the sensor and helps you get that creamy background blur that full frame is famous for. Light your scene with intention and you'll watch the gap between these two cameras just melt away. Hey everybody, if you're finding value in this content and this is making sense to you, go ahead and subscribe and leave me a comment down below. I love hearing about where you're at in your journey, and I love sharing the tips and tricks that I'm learning along the way so that you can grow in whatever type of content that you're creating. So I'm glad you're here. Thanks for watching, and now let's get back to the video. All right, this is where the magic really happens. We've shot our high dynamic footage in Cine EI with the right settings, and we've lit our scene properly. Now we hop into the computer to dial in the perfect match. I use Adobe Premiere Pro because its color tools work well for me. It's a simple 3-step process. Step 1, the input transform. We take our flat gray log footage from the camera and bring it into Premiere Pro. Now my process is a little bit different. I apply a correction LUT first. Some people convert to Rec 709. I prefer to use the correction LUT because it gives me a dark, moody look that I like in this particular environment. Step 2, primary adjustments. Premiere has a really good autocorrect that will help you speed up the process. I start with the autocorrect and then tweak it to make sure the colors are balanced and that the skin tones look right. You might need to make some tiny tweaks to the temperature and tint here, as sensors can see white balance a little bit different. And I also bump up the saturation a little bit if it's looking kind of low, depending on how it looks after I get it in there. Step 3, curves. This is the final secret sauce. Even after a perfect primary balance, you might see some tiny differences. Maybe the shadows on one camera are a little bit different, or some of the brights aren't quite so sharp. And what you can do is just push up right here, push this up a little bit to boost up some of the highlights and drag this side down for a little bit of the darkness. So after all that, can the cheaper and more nimble FX30 really look like an expensive FX6? In the right conditions, if you take the time to set things up correctly, you will have a tremendous image, and some will not be able to tell the difference. As you can see, with the right workflow, the right settings, and a bit of knowledge, your Sony FX30 can produce an image that isn't just close to a camera that costs 4 times as much, it's practically identical. The secret isn't spending more money on gear. It's investing in your skill. It's about learning light, understanding the camera's technical side, and mastering a little bit of the post-production workflow. Your FX30 isn't a cheap camera. It's an incredibly capable cinema tool that's just waiting for a skilled filmmaker to use it. And now you know how. And don't discount the fact that each camera really works better in certain situations. The compact FX30 is easier to squeeze into tighter spaces. You can handle it all day on run and gun projects. It really depends on what you're shooting and where you want to take your business in 2026. Hey everybody, I just want to say thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below and leave a like if you find value in this content. Subscribe so you don't miss future videos, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.